श्रवणेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranams. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll begin our class. We'll start with Bhagavad Gita shloka and then we'll proceed to our book reading. So I'll just share my screen. What was the last Bhagavad Gita shloka we read? Anyone remembers? Hare Krishna.
Gita 1.11.
1.11. Yeah. So anyone remembers what is the shloka 11? We read in chapter 1.
अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भावम् अवस्थितः भीष्मं एव विरक्षणु रक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि।
Hari Bol. Very nice, Manikam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So what did we see in Shloka 11? What was
भीष्म को सब लोग मिलकर सपोर्ट देके प्रोटेक्ट करने का।
sorry Prabhuji?
भीष्म को, ग्रैंडफादर भीष्म को सब लोग सपोर्ट देने का।
Prabhuji, you have to say in English, Prabhuji.
We have to support to Bhishma and then protecting Bhishma also with our by using our army with the respective strategic points.
Yeah. He's asking everyone to support Bhishma, Pitama Bhishma. And he's saying that he's also giving the heads up that, everyone should obey the command of Bhishma as they stand at their respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of army. So basically, the army setup arrangements are all done. And in a diplomatic way, what is he trying to say? What is
Because diplomatically, Duryodhana saying to all people.
Yeah, so basically, he was talking a lot about Bhishma and he's praising about that. So there are chances that other people may feel they are no less important. So he's kind of putting it in a diplomatic way that undoubtedly it's Pitama Bhishma who's the hero of the show. So everybody should, he is the one who is like who can die only when he wishes, right? And he had such nobody can kind of fight and win Bhishma Dev, right? So he knew that. So because of all these reasons, he said undoubtedly the greatest hero is grandfather Bhishma. So his protection needs to be ensured from all sides. So like that way, he's trying to uh, communicate to everyone, and that's what he's trying to say through this. Now we'll go to Shloka 12 today. Yeah, Padma Mataji, would you like to read the Shloka? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mother. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna.
तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षं वृद्धः पितामहः सिंहनाद विनद्योच्चैः शङ्खं दद्मौ प्रतापवान्.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranams, Hari Bol. Yeah. So what is the translation given by Srila Prabhupada? Let's look at that. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Right? So that's what he's saying. Let's quickly have a look at the puppet. It's a small puppet. So, what is Srila Prabhupada saying here? The grandsire of the Guru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana. And out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Right? Very beautiful, right? So it's a beautiful shloka. Nice. So we please go through this and come for the class. Next class, we'll do shloka 13 in the next class. Okay. Let's start with our book reading. So, what's the name of the book we're reading right now? Anyone?
Science of self-realization.
Haribol Ekampati, the science of self-realization. And we are in which chapter now?
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Yeah. What is the name of
Choosing,
chapter 2?
choosing spiritual master.
Haribol, very nice. What is the name of chapter 1? Anyone? Anyone remembers? What is the name of
Learning the science of soul.
Haribol Pushpa Mataji? Yeah, very nice. Learning the science of the soul. Now we are in the chapter choosing a spiritual master. Right? So, Prabhuji, where did we conclude Muthumanikam Prabhuji? Which
First paragraph,
paragraph?
Mataji. First paragraph. We have to read from the reporter.
Reporter. Okay. Okay. So, all right. So, I know it's been a while. Did you all revise whatever we've completed so far? Because we didn't have classes for the last 4 days. Were you all able to use that time to revise?
Yes, Mataji.
Chapter 1 and the first half of chapter 2?
I'll briefly tell Mother.
Okay. Nice. How about the others?
Yes, reverse.
Very nice, Muthumanik Prabhuji. I hope you all were able to, because only then the continuity will be there. So please make sure you at least do a quick revision before you come for the class. Okay. So what have we been discussing in the last class? Muthumanik Prabhuji, would you like to quickly summarize what we saw?
It causes it causes the necessity of finding a genuine guru to guide one in spiritual life.
Yeah, Haribol. Very nice.
First,
Okay.
this Guru's important discussed in one subchapter, and then the reporter and Srila Prabhupada discussing about the Gurus regarding the Guru and how they are selecting the and how the Krishna movement, Hare Krishna movement, doing the activities by selecting the Gurus like that.
Haribol. Very nice. Wonderful, Madhumani project. Okay. So this conversation has been going on between reporter and Srila Prabhupada, and it's been an interesting conversation. Like how we saw in chapter 1. That was more from uh, the basics, but this chapter is specifically questions related to uh, choosing a spiritual master, right? So all about how do we differentiate between someone who's genuine and fake, and all such interesting questions, and how about Hare Krishna movement also they're asking a lot of questions. So that's what we've been seeing. So we will start from this page 64. So okay,
65 Mataji.
65. Okay, 65 we'll start. So who would like to start? Hare Krishna. Okay, so I need two
Hare
people.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhagyalakshmi Mataji. Okay, so Bhagyalakshmi Mataji, you can play the role of a reporter, and Muthumanikam Prabhuji, would you like to do the role of the Srila Prabhupada?
Yes, mother.
Hari bol. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Hare Krishna
But
Mataji.
yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. You can start
Hare
now.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, mother.
Reporter, do you think your movement is the only way to know God?
Srila Prabhupada. Yes.
Reporter, how are you assured of that?
From the authorities and from God, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaje, Mamegam Saranam Viraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Bhabebhyo Mokshayasayami
Master.
Ma Chuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66.
Reporter, does surrendered mean that someone would have to leave his family, sir?
No.
Reporter, but suppose I were to become a initiate, would not I have to come and live in the temple?
Not necessarily.
Reporter, I can stay at home.
Oh, yes.
Reporter, what about work? Would I have to give up my job?
No, you had simply have to give up your bad habits and chant the Hare Krishna mantra and the beats. That's all.
Reporter, would I have to give any financial support?
No, that is your voluntary wish. If you give, that is all right. And if you don't, we don't mind. We do not depend on anyone's financial contribution. We depend on Krishna.
Reporter, I would not have to give any money at all.
No,
Reporter, is this one of the main thing of distinguish the genuine guru from the fake guru?
yes, a genuine guru is not a businessman. He is representative of God. Whatever God says, the guru reveals. He doesn't speak otherwise.
Reporter, but would you expect to find a real guru, say traveling in a Royal Royce and staying in a penthouse suite in a
Yes.
classy hotel? Any mistake?
Someone people provide us with a room in a first class hotel, but we generally stay in our own temple. We have some 100 temples around the world, so we don't require to go at any hotel.
Reporter, I was not trying to make any accusation. I was merely trying to illustrate that I think your warning is a Warning, warning is a valid one. There are so many people interested in finding a spiritual life, and at the same time, there are a lot of people interested in cashing in on the guru business.
Are you under the impression that spiritual life means voluntarily accepting poverty?
Reporter, well, I do not know.
A poverty stricken man may be materialistic, and a wealthy man may be a very spiritual. Spiritual life doesn't depend on either poverty or wealth. Spiritual life is transcendental. Consider Arjuna. For instance, Arjuna was a member of the royal family, yet he was a pure devotee of the God. And in the Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Sri Krishna says, Evam parambara praptam imam rajasaryo rajarsayo viduha. This supreme science was received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. In the past, all kings who were saintly understood spiritual science. Therefore, spiritual life doesn't depend on one's material condition. Whatever a person material condition may be, he may be a king or a pauper, he can still understand spiritual life. Generally, people do not know what spiritual life is, and therefore they unnecessarily criticize us. If I asked you what spiritual life is, how would you answer?
Reporter, well, I am not sure.
Although you don't know what spiritual life is, you still say it is this or it is that. But first, you should know what spiritual life is. Spiritual life begins when you understand that you are not your body. This is the real beginning of spiritual life. By seeing that the difference between the yourself and your body, you come to understand that you are a spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi.
Hare
Reporter,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hari
Bhagyesh Mataji and Muttamani Guruji. Thank you so much. Very nice. Haribol to both of you. Okay, now the next set of people. Hariprada Mataji and Pushpa Mataji, would you like to do?
Yes, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Pushpa Mataji, you can do the role of a reporter, and Hariprada Mataji, you can do the role of a Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, can
Hare
start.
Krishna, Mother. No, no. Reporter, do you think this knowledge should be a part of everyone's education?
Srila Prabhupada, yes, people should first be taught what they are. Are they their bodies or something else? That is the beginning of education. Now everyone is educated to think he is his body. Because someone accidentally gets an American body, he thinks I am an American. This is just like thinking I am a red shirt. Just because we are wearing a red shirt, you are not a red shirt. You are a human being. Similarly, this body is like a shirt or coat over the real person, the spirit soul. If we recognize ourselves simply by our bodily shirt or coat, then we have no spiritual education.
Reporter, do you think that such education should be given in school?
Srila Prabhupada, yes, in school, colleges, and universities, there is an immense literature on this subject, an immense fund of knowledge. What is actually required is that the leaders of society come forward to understand this movement.
Reporter, have you ever had people came to you who had previously been involved with a fake guru?
Srila Prabhupada, yes, there are many.
Reporter, there were spiritual lives in any way spoiled by the fake gurus?
Srila Prabhupada, no. They were genuinely seeking something spiritual, and that was their qualification. God is within everyone's heart, and as soon as someone genuinely seeks Him, He helps that person find a genuine Guru.
Reporter, have the real gurus like yourself ever tried to put a stop of the false gurus? That is, put pressure on them to put them out of business or so to speak.
Srila Prabhupada, no, that is not my purpose. I started my movement simply by chanting Hare Krishna. I chanted in New York in a place called Tompkins Square Park, and soon people began to come to me. In this way, the Krishna consciousness movement gradually developed. Many accepted and many did not accept. Those who are fortunate have accepted.
Reporter, don't you feel that people are suspicious because of their experience with fake gurus? If you went to a quack dentist and he broke your tooth, you might be suspicious about going to another dentist.
Srila Prabhupada, yes, naturally, if you are cheated, you become suspicious. But this does not mean that if you are cheated once, you will be always be cheated. You should find someone genuine. But to come to Krishna consciousness, you must be either very fortunate or well aware of this science. From the Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that the genuine seekers are very few. Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhai. Out of many millions of people, there may be only one who is interested in spiritual life. Generally, people are interested in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So, how can we expect to find many followers? It is not difficult to notice that people have lost the spiritual interest, and almost all those who are actually interested are being cheated by so called spiritualists. You cannot judge a movement simply by the number of its followers. If one man is genuine, then the movement is successful. It is not a question of quantity but quality.
Reporter, I wondered how many people you think might have been taken in by fake gurus.
Srila Prabhupada, practically everyone, laughter. There is no question of counting everyone.
Reporter, this would mean thousands of people, wouldn't it?
Srila Prabhupada, millions have been cheated because they want to be cheated. God is omniscient. He can understand your desires. He is within your heart, and if you want to be cheated, God sends you a cheater.
Reporter, it is possible for everyone to attain the perfectional stage you spoke of previously.
Srila Prabhupada, within a second, anyone can attain perfection within a second, providing he is willing. The difficulty is that no one is willing. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Simply surrender unto me. But who is going to surrender to God? Everyone says, oh, why should I surrender to God? I will be independent. If you simply surrender, it is a second's business. That's all. But no one is willing, and that is the difficulty.
Reporter, when you say that lots of people want to be cheated, do you mean that lots of people want to carry on with their worldly pleasures and at the same time by cheating, chanting a mantra or by holding a flower achieves spiritual life as well? Is this what you mean by wanting to be cheated?
Srila Prabhupada, yes, this is like a patient thinking. I shall continue with my disease, and at the same time, I shall become healthy. It is a contradictory. The first requirement is that one becomes educated in spiritual life. Spiritual life is not something one can understand by a few minutes talk. There are many philosophies and theology books, but people are not interested in them. That is the difficulty. For instance, the Srimad Bhagavatam is a very long work, and if you try to read this book, it may take many days just to understand one line of it. The Bhagavatam describes God, the absolute truth, but people are not interested. And if by chance someone becomes a little interested in spiritual life, he wants something immediate and cheap. Therefore, he is cheated. Actually, human life is meant for austerity and penance. That is the way of Vedic civilization. In Vedic times, they would train boys as brahmachari. No sex life was allowed at all up to the age of 25. Where is that education now? A brahmachari is a student who lives a life of complete celibacy and obeys the command of his guru at the Gurukula, school of spiritual master. Now, schools and colleges are teaching sex from the very beginning, and 12 or 13-year-old boys and girls are having sex. How can they have a spiritual life? Spiritual life means voluntarily accepting some austerities for the sake of God realization. That is why we insist on no illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, or intoxication for our initiated students. Without these restrictions, any yoga, meditation, or so called spiritual discipline cannot be genuine. It is simply a business deal between the cheaters and the cheated.
Reporter, thank you very much.
Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mata. Thank you, Mata.
Hari Bol, very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll start with the next topic. This is a continuation of chapter 2, right, Muthumanikam Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So, okay, next setting. I think this is not a conversation, right? Just scroll down a bit. No, I don't think this is a
Conversation.
conversation.
No, no, no.
Then one person can read. Okay. So we'll go one by one. So, okay. Maybe Padma Mataji, would you like to start? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
With all humility at my command. It is February 1936 in Bombay. The pure devotees, the pure devotee who 3 decades later will become the world-renowned spiritual master of the Krishna consciousness movement, glorifies his own spiritual master. Here we learn the time-honored meaning of the spiritual master, the disciple, and their relationship. साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्यः प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरु श्रीचरणरविन्दम्. The revealed scriptures it is declared that the spiritual master should be worshipped like the supreme personality of Godhead, and this injunction is obeyed by pure devotees of the Lord. The spiritual master is the most confidential servant of the Lord. Thus, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of our spiritual master. Gentlemen, on behalf of the members of the Bombay branch of the Gaudiya Matha, let me welcome you all because you have so kindly joined us tonight in our congregational offerings of homage to the lotus feet of the world teacher Acharya Deva, who is the founder of this Gaudiya mission and is the president Acharya of Shri Shri Vishwa Vaishnava Rajya Sabha. I mean my eternal divine master, Paramahamsa, Parivrajakaacharya, Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Today is his appearance day, no, Mataji. We fasted till 12. 62 years ago, on this auspicious day, the Acharya Deva made his appearance by the call of Thakura Bhakti Vinoda at Sri Kshetra Jagannatha Dhama at Puri. Gentlemen, the offering of such an homage as has been arranged this evening to the Acharya Deva is not a sectarian concern. For when we speak of the fundamental principle of Gurudeva or Acharya Deva, we speak of something that is of universal application. There does not arise any question of discriminating my Guru from yours or anyone else's. There is only one Guru who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me, and all others. The Guru or Acharya Deva, as we learn from the bona fide scriptures, delivers the message of the absolute world, the transcendental abode of the absolute personality, where everything non differentially serves the absolute truth. We have heard so many times, Mahajano yena gatah sa panthaha. Traverse a trail which your previous Acharya has passed. But we have hardly tried to understand the real purport of this shloka. If we scrutinizingly study this proposition, we understand that the Mahajana is one and the royal road to the transcendental world is also one. In the Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12, it is said, तद्विज्ञार्थं स तद्विज्ञार्थं स गुरुम् एव भिगच्छेत् समित्पाने श्रोतियं ब्रह्मनिष्ठम्. In order to learn the transcendental science, one must approach the bona fide spiritual master in disciplic succession, who is fixed in the absolute truth. Thus, it has been enjoined herewith that in order to receive the transcendental knowledge, one must approach the Guru. Therefore, if the absolute truth is one, about which we think there is no difference in opinion, the Guru also cannot be two. The Acharya Deva, for whom we have assembled tonight to offer our humble homage, is not the Guru of a sectarian institution or one out of many differing exponents of the truth. On the contrary, he is a Jagat Guru or the Guru of all of us. The only difference is that some obey him wholeheartedly while others do not obey him directly. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.17.27, it is said, आचार्यं मां विजानीयात् न अवमन्येत कर्हिचित् न मर्त्य बुद्ध्यसूयेत सर्वदेव मयो गुरुः. One should understand the spiritual master to be as good as I am, said the blessed Lord. Nobody should be jealous of the spiritual master or think of him as an ordinary man, because the spiritual master is a sum total of all demigods. That is the Acharya. That is, the Acharya has been identified with God himself. He has nothing to do with the affairs of this mundane world. He does not descend here to meddle with the affairs of temporary necessities, but to deliver the fallen conditioned souls, the souls or entities who have come here to the material world with the motive of enjoyment with the mind and the five organs of sense perception. He appears before us to reveal the light of the Vedas and to bestow upon us the blessings of full-fledged freedom, after which we should hanker at every step of our life's journey. The transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was first uttered by God to Brahma, the creator of this particular universe. From Brahma, the knowledge descended to Narada, from Narada to Vyasadeva, from Vyasadeva to Madhava. And in this process of disciplic succession, the transcendental knowledge was transmitted by one disciple to another till it reached Lord Gauranga, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who posed as the disciple and successor of Sri Ishwarapuri. The present Acharya Deva is a 10th disciplic representative from Sri Rupa Goswami, the original representative of Lord Chaitanya, who preached this transcendental tradition in its fullness. The knowledge that we receive from our Gurudeva is not different from that imparted by God Himself, and the succession of the Acharyas in the preceptorial line of Brahma. We adore this auspicious day as Sri Vyasa Puja Tithi, because the Acharya is a living representative of Vyasadeva, the divine compiler of the Vedas, the Puranas, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, and the Srimad Bhagavatam. One who interprets the divine sound or Shabda Brahma by his imperfect sense perception cannot be a real spiritual guru, because in the absence of proper disciplinary training under the bona fide Acharya, the interpreter is sure to differ from Vyasadeva as the Mayavadis do. Srila Vyasadeva is the prime authority of Vedic revelation, and therefore such an irrelevant interpreter cannot be accepted as a guru or Acharya, howsoever equipped he may be with the acquirements of material knowledge. As it is said in the Padma Purana, Sampradaya Vihina Ye Mantraste Nishphala Mataha. Unless you're initiated by a bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession, the mantra that you might have received is without any effect.
Krishna Mataji, Dhanmat Pranams. Thank you so much. Very nicely read, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Vamshidhar Prabhuji, would you like to read next?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes. One moment.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate. From where, Mataji?
Yes, green.
On the other hand.
Okay. I'm reading from my screen. Okay, one should understand spiritual kada. No, this is not transcendental. Next, on who interpret, right? Divine sound.
On the other hand.
On the other hand. Okay, I got it. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. On the other hand, one who has received the transcendental knowledge by oral reception from the bona fide spiritual proprietor in the disciplic chain, and who has sinner regard for the real Acharya must read be enlightened with the revealed knowledge of the Vedas, but this knowledge is permanently sealed to the cognitive approach of the empiricists. As it is said, the Sheteshwara Upanishad, Yasya Deva Para Bhaktir Yatha Deva Tatha Guru Tasyaite Kathita Hai Arthaha Prakashante Mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who are simultaneously have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the import of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Gentlemen, our knowledge is so poor, our senses are so imperfect, and our sources are so limited that it is not possible for us to have even a slightest knowledge of the absolute region without surrendering ourselves at the lotus feet of Sri Vyasadeva or his bona fide spiritual representative. Every moment we are being deceived by the knowledge of our direct perception. It is all the creation or conclusion of mind, which is always receiving, changing, and flickering. We cannot know anything of the transcendental region by our limited, perverted method of observation and experiment, but all of us can lend our eager ears for the oral reception of the transcendental sound transmitted from that region to this through the unadulterated medium of the Sri Gurudeva or Sri Vyasadeva. Therefore, gentlemen, we should surrender ourselves to today at the feet of the representative of Sri Vyasadeva for the el- elimination of all our differentiation, be it by our unsubmissive attitude. It is accordingly said in Sri Gita 4.34 तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिपृष्णेन सेवया उपादिक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः. Just approach that wise and bona fide spiritual master, surrender unto him first, and try to understand him by the inquiries and service. Such a wise spiritual master will enlighten you with the transcendental knowledge, for he has already know that absolute truth. To receive the transcendental knowledge, we must completely surrender ourselves to real Acharya in spirit of the ardent inquiry and service. Actually, performance of the service to the absolute under the guidance of the Acharya is the only vehicle by which we can assimilate the transcendental knowledge. Today, meeting for offering our humble service and homage to feet of the Acharya Deva will enable us to the favored with the capacity of assimilating the transcendental knowledge so kindly transmitted by him to all persons without distinction.
Hare
Distinction.
Krishna, Prabhuji, Tanvat pranams. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna. Thank you, Mother. Namaskar.
much. Hare Krishna. Ekambar Prabhuji, would you be able to read, Prabhuji? How is your health now?
I can read Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Then you can continue.
Gentlemen, we are all more or less proud of our past Indian civilization, but we actually do not know the real nature of that civilization. We cannot be proud of our past material civilization, which is now 1,000 times greater than in days gone by. It is said that we are passing to the age of darkness, the Kali Yuga. What is this darkness? The darkness cannot be due to backwardness in material knowledge because we now have more of it than formerly. If not we ourselves, our neighbors at any rate have plenty of it. Therefore, we must conclude that the darkness of the present age is not due to a lack of material advancement, but that we have lost the clue to the spiritual advancement, which is the prime necessity of human life and the criterion of the highest type of human civilization. Throwing of bombs from airplanes is no advancement, advancing advancement of civilization from the primitive, uncivilized practice of dropping big stones on the heads of enemies from the tops of hills. Improvement of the art of killing of our neighbors by means of machine guns and poisonous gases is certainly no advancement from primitive barbarism, which prided prided itself on its art of killing by bows and arrows. Nor does the development of a sense of pampered freshness prove anything more than intellectual animalism. True human civilization is different from all the states, and therefore, in the Katha Upanishad 11.3.14, there Uchista Jagrata Prapya Vararam Nibodhata Kaurasya Dara Mishita Duratyaya Durgam Patas Tat Kavivo Vadanti. Please wake up and try to understand the boon which you now have in this human form of life. The path of spiritual realization is very difficult. It is sharp like a razor's edge. That is the opinion of learned transcendentalist scholars. Thus, while others are yet in the womb of historical oblivion, the sages of India had developed a different kind of civilization which enabled them to know themselves. They had discovered that we are not at all material entities, but that we are all spiritual, permanent, and indestructible servants of the Absolute. But because we have against our better judgment, chosen to completely identify ourselves with this present material existence, our sufferings have multiplied according to the inexorable law of birth and death, with its consequent diseases and anxieties. These sufferings cannot be really mitigated by any provision of material happiness because matter and spirit are completely different elements. It is just as if you took an aquatic animal out of water and put it on the land, supplying all manner of happiness possible on land. The deadly sufferings of the animal are not capable of being relieved at all until it is taken out of its foreign environment. Spirit and matter are completely contradictory things. All of us are spiritual entities. We cannot have perfect happiness, which is our birthright. However much we may meddle with the affairs of the mundane things, perfect happiness can be ours only when we are restored to our natural state of spiritual existence. This is the distinctive message of our ancient Indian civilization. This is the message of the Gita. This is the message of the Vedas and the Puranas, and this is the message of all the Acharyas, including our present Acharya Deva in the line of Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranams. Thank you so much. Dattatreya Prabhuji, would you like to continue? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Gentlemen, although it is imperfectly that we have been enabled by His grace to understand the sublime messages of our Acharya Deva, Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivarjakarya Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja, we must admit that we have realized definitely that the divine message from His holy lips is the congenial thing for suffering humanity. All of us should hear from him patiently. If we listen to the transcendental sound without unnecessary opposition, he will surely leave mercy upon us. The Acharya's message is to take us back to our original home, back to God. Let me repeat, therefore, that we should hear him patiently, follow him in the measure of our convocation, and how and bow down at his lotus feet for erasing us from our present causeless unwillingness for serving the Absolute and all souls. From the Gita, we learn that even after the destruction of the body, the mind or soul is not destroyed, is always the same. always new and fresh. Fire cannot burn him, water cannot dissolve him, the air cannot dry him up, and the sword cannot kill him. He is everlasting and eternal. And this is also confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8413. यस्यात्मा बुद्धि गुणापेट्रै उदयन्ते स्वाधि कलादृश्च भूमर्यादि यत् यत्तीर्थबुद्धि सलेन कर्जित जनसेवा अभिनिषु सा एव गो करा. Anyone who accepts this bodily bag of three elements, bile, mucus, and air, as itself, who has an affinity for intimate relationship with his wife and children, who considers his land worshipable, who takes part in the waters of the holy places of pilgrimage, but never takes advantage of these persons who are in actual knowledge. He is no better than an ass or a cow. Unfortunately, in these days, we have all been turned foolish by neglecting our real comfort and identifying the material cage with ourselves. We are concentrated on all our energies for the meaningless upkeep of the material cage for its own sake, completely neglecting the capt- captive soul within. The cage is meant for the undoing of the bird. The bird is not meant for the welfare of the cage. Let us therefore deeply ponder this. All our activities are now turned towards the upkeep of the cage, and the most we do it is try to give some food to the mind by art and literature. But we do not know that this mind is also material in a more subtle form. This is stated in Gita 7.4. Bhumir apo nalo vayu. Bhumir apo nalo vayu.
मनो बुद्धिरेव च
Mano
अहङ्कार इदीयं
Devacha
मे भिन्ना
Ahankara idim
प्रकृतिरस्ततः.
Ankaritumni Bhumit Praktir Asado. Earth, fire, water, air, sky, intelligence, mind, and ego are all my separated energies. We have scarcely tried to give any food to the soul, which is distinct from the body and mind. Therefore, you are all committing suicide in the proper sense of the term. The message of Acharya Deva is to give us a warning to hold such wrong activities. Let us therefore bow down at his lotus feet for the unalloyed mercy and kindness he has bestowed upon us. Gentlemen, do not for a moment think that my Gurudeva wants to put a complete break on the modern civilization, an impossible feat. But let us learn from him the art of making the best use of a bad bargain. And let us understand the importance of this human life, which is fit for the highest development of true consciousness. The best use of this rare human life should not be neglected, as it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.929. Labdava, Labdava, Surideva, Idam Bheksamadite, Manusyanam, Artha, Artadam, Anitam, Apita, Dirya,
अभी है धीरः कर्णम्
Nir,
एतत् न पतेत्
Nirtarnam, Yatevana, Pate,
अनुमृत्युः यवान्
Anumurtya,
यावान्
Yasya, Vishya,
निःश्रेष्यस्य
Kalu,
यशाय
Sara,
विषयः
Yaravachate.
खलु सर्वतः स्यात्.
This human form of life is obtained after many, many births, and although it is not permanent, it can offer the highest benefits. Therefore, a sober and intelligent man should immediately try to fulfill his mission and attain the highest profit in life before another death occurs. You should avoid sense gratification, which is available in all circumstances. Let us not misuse the human life in the vain pursuit of material enjoyment, or in other words, for the sake of only eating, sleeping, fearing, and sensuous activities. The Acharya Deva's message is conveyed by the words of Sri Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.255-256. अनासक्त्यास विषयं यथापयुज्यते निर्बन्धे कृष्णसम्बन्धे युक्तं वैराग्यं युज्यते प्रपानि प्रपारिच्याद् बुद्ध्या हरिसम्बन्धी वस्तुना मुक्ता परित्यागो वैराग्यं कथ्यते कथायते. One should be situated in the fully renounced order of life. If he lives life in accordance with Krishna consciousness, he should be without attachment for sense gratification and should accept only what is necessary for the upkeep of the body. On the other hand, one renounces things which would be used in the service of Krishna under the pretext that such things are material, does not practice complete renunciation. The purport of these slokas can only be realized by fully developing the mm, rational portion of our life, not the animal portion. Sitting at the feet of the Acharya Deva, let us try to understand from this transcendental source of knowledge what we are, what is this universe, what is God, and what is our relationship with Him. The message of Lord Chaitanya is the message for the living entities and the message of the living world. Lord Chaitanya did not bother himself for the upliftment of this dead world, which is suitably named Mrityaloka, the world where everything is destined to the humbly named Mrityaloka, the world where everything is destined to die. He appeared before us 450 years ago to tell us something of the transcendental universe where everything is permanent and everything is for the service of the Absolute. But recently, Lord Chaitanya has been misrepresented by some unscrupulous persons, and the highest philosophy of the Lord has been misinterpreted to be the cult of the lowest type of society. We are glad to announce that tonight that our Acharya Deva, with his usual kindness, saved us from this horrible type of degradation, and therefore we bow down at his lotus feet with all humility.
Hare Krishna,
Gentlemen,
Dhanvat
there
Pranam.
has been a mania of the cultured or uncultured society at the present day to accredit the personality of Godhead with merely impersonal features and so stifle him by claiming that he has no senses, no form, no activity, no head, no legs, and no enjoyment. This has also been the pleasure of the modern scholars due to their sheer lack of proper guidance and true introspection in the spiritual realm. All these these think alike. All the enjoyable things should be monopolized by human society or by a particular class only. And the impersonal God should be very ordered supplier for the himself feats. We are happy that we have been relieved of this horrible type of malady by the mercy of His divine grace. Paramahamsa Parivajakarya Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja, who
Bhakti
is our
Siddhanta
eye opener,
Saraswati.
our eternal Father, our eternal preceptor, and our eternal guide. Let us therefore bow down at his lotus feet on this auspicious day.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Gentlemen,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanvat Pranam. Thank you so much. So we'll stop with this today. I know we've exceeded our time. It's already 10:42. Thank you so much, everyone. So we'll continue this in the next class. Tomorrow we have a weekly satsang, Saturdays as always. So we will resume on Sunday. So Sunday we will complete this chapter mostly. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Please revise and come. From Sunday onwards, we'll have our classes regularly. There will not be any break. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. Dhanvat pranams. Vacha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमः
नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की
जय
प्रपात की जय हरे
जय गौरताय की जय हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू